The NeuroDADverse podcast is produced by Squid Shack Studios.
Hey, I'm Ben.
And I'm Dan.
We're both fathers,
We're both married.
and we're both raising kids with diagnosed neurodiverse conditions.
Parenting is tough, and we're not saying it's harder for us, just different.
And sometimes that different can be hard to explain.
That's why we've created the NeuroDADverse, a weekly show where we share our wins, our challenges, and all the neurosparkly and neurospicy bits in between.
Our hope is to create a safe space for parents to share their own highs and lows of neurodiverse parenting. And just to remind you of three things.
You're doing great,
You are enough.
and you're definitely not alone.
So welcome to the NeuroDADverse. That feeling when it's 2026 and you are 1 month done of the year. Welcome back in to the NeuroDADverse. This is the podcast for, about, and definitely by parents of neurodivergent children. If you're new here, welcome. If you're coming back, you're also very welcome. This is where two dads of neurodivergent children get together and share their wins and challenges of what it's been like to parent those human beings in the past week. I'm Ben, and this is my friend Dan. How has your week been, Dan?
My week's been great, thanks, Ben. It's gone very quick. I cannot believe we're now at the end of January.
Indeed, yeah.
It feels like the slowest month and the quickest month at the same time.
We are recording as per usual on a Sunday afternoon, so it is in fact the 1st of February, so January is all done. Cool, nice. Well, we normally try to sum up our week in 3 words, so do you want to go ahead and do the first one, Dan?
Just the first one? Okay.
Well, sorry, no, sorry. Tennis is
build it
also,
up?
I caught some of the Australian Open so I was going back on tennis. Do you want to serve?
Okay, fine. I'm going with celebration,
Or surprise?
exploration,
Supplies?
medication.
Revise?
No.
Oh, we did a rhyme. Cool. All right. Do you want to tell me what was going on in your week today and what might pop up in your challenges or wins?
So my past week included a full week of school, a medical appointment for Frankie, my birthday, a school trip, or Frankie's first school trip that I went along on, a respite center visit, and
Oh, cool.
starting medication for Frankie.
Okay.
Busy one.
Dan, this is weird.
Why?
My week included a week of school,
Okay.
a medical appointment for Mabel,
Okay.
Laura's birthday,
Okay.
and the beginning of some new medication. I'm not kidding you. Why do these things happen? Like, there's no podcast in which you have the same experience.
Well, please don't tune off just because it sounds like we've had very similar weeks, because I guarantee you they will not be as similar as that list sounds.
No, and of course, we will probably turn wins into challenges and maybe challenges into wins. Okay, cool. Do you want to kick us off with your challenge?
Yeah, so my challenge this week, or the moment of the week that I found most challenging, was
Ooh, nice.
well, it's a bit of a
I like it.
bittersweet. It's a bit of a bittersweet one this week in terms of the win and the challenge, as you just said. They can be both.
Cool.
So my challenge this week was the last sort of 40 minutes of Frankie's school trip this week that I went along
Oh, yeah.
on. The first half I will discuss in the wins section, but as we start with challenges,
Yeah, of course.
the last, and this is not a criticism of the school and how they arranged their trip. It's just more the circumstances of the sort of configuration
How you
of
experienced it?
Frankie's. Yeah, no, it's kind
Yeah,
of like
yeah.
the configuration of Frankie's needs.
Mhm.
It just wasn't probably the most optimal. So it kind of we'd had a really good trip. Discuss in a minute. But when it got to after the activity bit, it was lunchtime, and then there was a little bit of time left over before the minibus come to collect them again. And that wasn't as structured time as the earlier part of the day was. And the activity that was proposed that the kids all wanted to do, I just knew straight away was not going to be ideal for Frank. But I went along with it. I tried to be optimistic. It
Yeah, of course.
involved going to explore the grounds of the place that we had gone to. We'd been inside the main
Okay.
house, and we went and visited like a heritage site.
Right, cool.
And they said, okay, well, we got like half an hour. Should we just do a quick walk around the grounds? So straight away, just said to his teacher, I went, 1, you can't do a quick lap around these grounds. It's going to be at least like 45 minutes if you want to actually lap the grounds. And I'm like, 2, once we go into the wide open, Frank's a lot harder to keep on track, as it were, because he will just go off and explore on his own, hence exploration, as being one of my words. So I just found that quite challenging, trying to... He wanted to do it. He saw that the school trip was 2 classes of the same age. One was the mainstream school, and then
Okay,
the
yeah.
other was Frankie's class. So the Frankie's
How
class
many
was
in Frankie's class, mate?
less than 10. I don't know. I can't remember
Okay,
how,
so
off the top of my head.
So it was a
I think it was 8 or
mainstream,
9.
mainly a mainstream school trip with a small SEND group of students.
Yeah,
Sorry, a
there
small
was probably
group
like
of SEND
30,
students.
yeah, probably 30,
Okay.
40 pupils, and a quarter of that would have been
Okay.
SEND part. Yeah. So they all ate their lunch and then started to leave the room. Frankie, like, where's everyone going? Being really curious, and that's what I love about him. He is
Yep.
curious.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, we're going to go this way. And he wanted to go, when we first arrived here, it is somewhere we've been before, he wanted to go towards the sort of gardens, grounds part. And I said, no, we're here to do this sort of stuff first. And so when we actually got to go, I said, here's a quick route that I think we could do in the time given, because obviously I don't know the needs of the class or the rest of his class either. I just know that Frank is a bit of a road runner and is quite happy to go off. So I said, this is what we can probably do in the time. Let's see how it goes. And then obviously Frankie takes off, leads from the front. We are running well ahead of everyone else. There's a little bit of a river, like a stream there that we cross over. He loved that. And then we went flying off the other side, and we were trying to do the full 40-minute lap sort of in 15 minutes. His class slowly sort of walked behind, but it was just, again, just one of those moments where I just feel sort of, it's obvious that the differentiation, like physicality and showing of Frankie's sort of menu of neurodiversity comes out, because all the other kids are walking, holding their parents' hands or the staff's hands. They're all taking their time. Like, they're taking their time because they're like looking around whatever, but Frank's not that sort of kid. So we're running around, trying to stop him running in the stream. He was loving all the geese and the ducks. Like, he found them very fascinating, but also
there's like roaming.
Yeah. So that was
Okay.
that was cool because he
A
found them
lot.
fascinating. But then obviously they all
But you've
moved as a
been
group.
before, yeah.
It's familiar to him. So he wanted to do what he wants to do
Yeah.
when we normally go. I just follow him around and let him run. But obviously, we're on a school
Yeah,
trip.
that's
We
the
got
tip.
school constraints, and I was just like, this isn't going to work. In my head,
Yeah,
I just
well-
thought, this isn't going to work, but we'll try. And essentially, we watched the class slowly do their lap while we'd probably done like 3 or 4 laps in that time. But he didn't want to leave because he was having a really good time. So his school teacher eventually sort of waved at us and said, like, buses are here. And I was like, okay, trying. But it's really a 2-man job at this point to try and get Frankie to go somewhere he doesn't really want to leave. So his teacher did run round, come meet us, and then between the two of us, just because having the extra body just means that we can narrow the sort of escape routes
yeah.
trying to run around us. We slowly sort of got him. He went begrudgingly, but we had to hold him a couple of times because he was trying to run away. So I just grabbed his arm and go, we got to go this way, Frank. He'll drop to the floor. Very muddy, it just wasn't ideal, but his teacher was there. She helped. And we got in there, but he was essentially kind of going into like mini meltdown mode. And then I just said, I understand, babe. I really understand. We got minibus to go to, going back to school. And then he just looked at me, took a couple of minutes, and then he started to walk. And then he come over after about 5 minutes when we was quite close to the actual exit where the minibus was. He came and held my hand again and let me know that he was sort of like calming down. But yeah, it was basically me and his school teacher are sort of having to stand here holding him so he doesn't go running off again into the big open fields while he was trying to not have a meltdown, basically. It was just tough because I was like, we'd had such a good morning. It was just so bittersweet.
I can imagine that was that was
Up
really
until lunch, it was
challenging.
good.
But can I ask some follow-up questions?
Of course.
By all means, if you don't want to answer us, it's totally fine. Did you, first of all, did you feel it was like challenging because it was unexpected? Like that wasn't on the. You said they had a bit of time to spare, so they decided to do a thing. So was it the unknown, or so? What I'm saying, I guess, what I'm saying is, obviously there's the unknown element, but what I really mean is, do you think it was more challenging because it was how you experienced it, where you're a parent, but you're also kind of on show? Does that make sense?
No,
'Cause
totally. I
there's lots
think,
of
yeah.
other parents and there's lots of other teachers. Because I don't really want you to talk about the teachers very much, because obviously I think we are both on the same page that teachers that work with our children are like absolute superheroes, and they're doing so much for our kids with specific complex needs.
Mhm.
Not, I know that phrase is getting thrown around, but yeah, I wondered if you felt like you experienced it a little bit more deeply as a challenge because of that, or not, maybe.
So firstly, the staff at his school are incredible. They're great. And it isn't, as I said, when I started off before I even said the story, I went, this isn't a criticism of what they did. They planned a day
Yeah.
out, which we've said a few weeks ago, like how many schools with SEND children will actually attempt trips.
Absolutely.
But
That can be true, and you can also feel it was more challenging because of that.
yeah, I suppose.
You know what I mean?
But the staff were great, because obviously I was talking to them, and that we've got quite a good relationship. They,
Yeah.
we see them when we can. They tell us in the communication book. It was just it might have been potentially one of the sort of classic, because we live in a default neurotypical world. They're like, all right, they do their activity. We'll give them 45 minutes for lunch, and then half
hour
an
to
hour
blow
of
off
just
steam.
half hour to just chill out and do
Just half
something.
hour blow off steam before the bus.
Exactly. So as we've kind of just, I've outlined that there was like maybe 75% of the children on that trip that's perfectly okay for. Slightly more challenging for certain, say, menus of neurodivergent children. And for Frankie,
Yeah.
it was kind of, it just wasn't the optimal sort of time, really. There was no way he was going to sit in that room for 40 minutes while everyone else was going for a walk. He was adamant he wanted to leave the room, so I was like, obviously we will try. But yeah, I was just like, it's the openness of the space. And if I was going there not on a school trip, if I was on my own, how it ended was always going to be how it would end, because at some point we're going to leave. He's not going to want to leave. And unless
Yep.
we're in the right place at the right time to try and do the quicker exit, on my own, it just wouldn't be really achievable. So I only got him to the minibus because his teacher came and helped. Did I feel more challenged because I was at a school trip? Partly yes, because we had the time sensitivity of the minibus was coming,
like,
and I'm
it's
like,
not just
we need to make the minibus.
yeah, and it's not just me. It's not just you that might miss the bus. It's holding everything else up and other transitions.
Yeah.
I get that fully. But also,
I wasn't allowed. I wasn't allowed on the on the thing. We had to make our own way to and from the location,
yeah.
which was fine because it's not massively far.
Mhm.
But yeah, they did actually. I think some of the students, I didn't know this. Like, I didn't get the comm if there was a comm sent, but they were like, "Oh, you can take them home with you from this," and I was like, "I didn't know this. I didn't have anything planned. There's no way after doing such a sensory trip, he's going to go on public transport with me, or potentially even me getting a cab home would have still meant I need to get him to where the minibus was. So it still would have been a challenge. And in my head, I was sitting there thinking, if I'm totally honest, they've gone. They've been out of sight for a good 10 minutes. They're probably at the minibus right now. Are they going to leave us here? Because I'm here as a parent, potentially, I suppose, because I'm here as his parent, the responsibility of him is me, although I'm on a school trip.
You'd
So
get that conversation and communication. You would have got that from a member of staff. So
yeah, so I didn't. Part of me was thinking, I don't think they would. And then his teacher obviously waved, and then she come over and helped. But I was sitting there going, if they do think, or they do say, yeah, we've got to go in absolutely, like, we've got to go in 5 minutes, and I can't make this happen. What am I going to do?
you're trying to round up your child to get them to go somewhere, and you were nervous that it wasn't going to happen on time.
Basically,
Yeah, cool. Like every time you move them from one place to another, or you help them move.
So yeah, but yeah, it was just, Frankie is a explorer, energetic runner, climber,
Yeah.
wants to go and explore kid. The other kids in his class seem quite happy just to follow the adults and staff's lead.
It's
About
fine.
half of the class had parents there, the other half obviously was staff. So it was like 1-to-1, like kid to
good.
parent, which was good. But yeah,
Cool.
it was just obvious that we were exploring and doing things differently, and that was the challenge. But we did get there, but it did incur a mini meltdown. But he was fine for the rest of the day, and he came home happy, and we seemed to get over it. But yeah, because there was a time pressure, and you can't force Frankie to do anything he doesn't want to do. So in theory, staff members might be looking at me going, "You're not." Like, it doesn't look like I'm trying hard, but that's because I'm just not physically trying to manhandle him. I'm like,
I don't
I'm
think
telling
any of
him
them
with
are thinking.
audio.
I don't think any of them are thinking that. I just think they. Yeah, I mean, in the.
Well, they
I'm
might
gonna
not,
get
but then
all-
the general public, that because it was by a
Oh
cafe.
yeah,
So
is it
I'm
open to
like,
the public as well?
it was open to the public. It was a very busy cafe as well. I'm just like, but I was doing what I knew was the best possible chance of pulling it off, but I just needed assistance. It was never going to happen. As
Yeah.
soon as we left that room to go and do this short walk, I was like, it's not going to be short. It's not going to be a walk. But yeah, so that was my challenge.
Was the cafe busy?
The cafe was busy because it was lunchtime.
Interesting.
It was
Interesting.
lunchtime. I didn't
I
get any
remember it, like,
comments or
clearly-
things like that, but it's obvious, like, my kid is having a bit of a meltdown. We did have to go through the cafe area that was the quickest route to
I
where
don't
the
know
bus
where-
was. There was a few
so-
people looking, but no one said anything.
I don't know where this cafe was. I don't know what place you went to. I don't know who was there, but it's very interesting because there had or a fair few people in my life who've experienced the very much thing that you talk about with Oscar had been there. I think I certainly would have. I know a lot of friends who've been involved with, like I said, wrangling. As horrible as that sounds, Oscar might have just approached you. Like I definitely would have as a stranger and gone, "Hey, are you trying to get this
Do you
kid
need
to
a
go
hand?
somewhere? Like
Yeah.
I like, yeah, can I do anything?"
Mhm.
Because I know that I would have lapped up that scenario. Like, 'cause
As
that
would
shows
I.
kindness.
Yeah,
That
I
could,
would think.
in many times in my life, far too many to count. Have I been in that state, super anxious, super like scared? I've got to get them here. I've got to get them, but I've also got to protect them. I don't want to physically restrain them.
Mm.
And you just, but you don't, and that's like, it's sad, but that's what you have to remember is that the majority of people, as much more understanding and knowledge and exposure neurodiversity gets, and particularly autism, it's still the likelihood that people don't understand what it's like to live with a child with that condition. So most people, I mean, I wasn't at the cafe, so I can't say for sure, but no one did come off and offer their help. So they just realized, oh, there's a kid kicking off over there.
Yeah.
Actually, it's quite profound. It's quite a profound difficulty that my child is experiencing.
Yeah.
It's a real shame.
When we got in there,
Because if you're trying to go up some stairs and they're in a wheelchair, do you want some help?
Oh yeah, if
Because it's invisible.
if a mum is trying to get off a pram on the back of a
Yeah,
bus,
right.
I just do you want me to grab the front, make it easier instead of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
risking
Offer the
falling
at least
out.
offer the help. Like,
It's
don't
nice
have
to be
take
nice.
it.
Yeah. But yeah, when we did get into the cafe area, his class were there waiting. So a couple of the TAs that work with him, they would come over like, "Hi, Frankie," because obviously at this point he's crying. He's kind of been not dragged across the floor, but he keeps trying to drop to the floor when we're trying to hold his arms, like hold his hands. So
Yeah.
they tried, but that was part of my concern a few pods ago when I said, like, what do I do? Because I know if I'm there, he will act differently. So if I wasn't there at that point, that scenario would have been far worse, because at that point, staff members would have to then break away from the pack if we caught that the clock
Yeah,
to go
yeah,
and
yeah.
help him, and it would have taken multiple people. They might not have had the resource to do that, and that could then potentially impact his attendance on
But
future
equally,
trips because I'll be like, oh, Frankie needs two,
equally,
3
Dan,
people.
he might have. I mean this in the right way. He might have just gone, boss. Okay, boss now. Because I'm
Yeah,
at school and these are these adults, and
maybe.
I go to this place with Dad, but I don't do this. That's with school people. I do it with Dad. I'm not saying that you made. My point is, the opposite experience to what you had doesn't immediately become the same challenge. Does that what I
Yeah.
mean?
No,
So,
totally. But yeah,
but
because they
yeah,
wouldn't know that of him because obviously they're used to him being in a school field as captive. Like as soon as you
yeah,
give him area to go, he will
yeah.
go. And
And the
it's like,
next trip, they will have learned. We need to consider this for Frank
yeah.
now,
And
and
I
that's
would
good.
say
It's
that
all
in his
good
book.
learning.
I'll just be like, if you're going to do something like that, I'll be like, my suggestion would just be if you got this, like for children like Frank, have the minibus arrive while they're eating lunch and they can have lunch and transition straight onto the thing. Like having this whole half an hour, let's see what we can do, doesn't work for him. But obviously
Yeah,
for the rest of his class, it
you
did.
just
And it was
give
just, again,
information.
it was just one of those examples where, you know, I go to these things, like we go to send days out, we go to send activities. I always seem to find myself in a position where I feel I'm the only person who's in the position I am in, and everyone else seems to be doing what it is. But
But
I
you're doing
I
exactly
do
the
love my
same.
life, but it is just the
You
way it
are
is.
doing exactly the same as that parent in the group of children who's just holding their kids' hands tightly. They're just meeting the need.
Yeah.
And just because your need looks like all you're doing is shepherding to make sure it doesn't run in the river,
Mm.
that you're still meeting that need.
Yeah, totally. I didn't
Whereas
feel bad
there'll just
how
be
I was doing it.
there'll be loads of there'll be parents, I imagine, who went on that trip who would have felt as challenged and as exhausted as you, but for a different reason because their kid has a different particular need.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
your one is more outward facing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because he
You know what I mean?
presents so
So
outwardly, I'm like, oh, he's running round and he's running. Yeah, and I did like 17,000 steps that day. Like it was a lot. So, and but by comparison, I am wearing a new Chon Athletic shirt for my birthday on Thursday. I walked from my house to the valley, which
amazing.
is 6 miles. We did it in an hour and a half ish when we take off waiting
Nice.
times at traffic lights or whatever. I walked 700 steps more walking
Let's
to
go.
Sholton than I did going on this school trip with Frankie. And the school trip was exactly the same amount of time. So that's how many steps I covered. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Segueing into China Flick, I think it's probably a good idea that we keep an eye up. I don't think they've got the date yet, but they have the disability team, the Upbeats. And they do an Upbeats walk every year. So I think we should definitely go to that because they are the reason that this pod came to fruition, because we had to have chats after the platform. So yeah, that's cool. I'll have a look on the Community Trust's website and see if they've got anything this year. All right,
Amazing.
cool. Segueing away from football and all the wonderful things that our club does in the community to my challenge, I think. Sorry, were you finished?
Yes, no, I'm finished, sir. Tell me about your challenge. That was a lot longer chat than I thought it would be, but yeah.
No, it's fine. We had to dig into it. Well, mine's probably a little bit shorter because it is just the top up challenge. And it's mainly Oscar's school refusal. It's not every day. It's sporadic. We are still mining and looking for conversation. For what exactly? Don't know if it's push factors. Don't know if it's pull factors. I don't know. But it is bleeding into their social interests. So, for example, we aren't coming. We're not starting to say we don't really want to go out, like
Right.
at all.
Okay.
Out or spend time doing things with either Laura or I. And it's a challenge because they're in year 9, so that's after this year 2 more years, and then something post 16. And I know I've said on the pod before, like I just want to go do something that they're happy with, but that is so much more of a challenge if they aren't in the rhythm of doing that. And I think it's just taken them time to process what Mabel's been going through with her, we can now understand as emotional-based school avoidance. But we just don't have options, and it isn't to do with what the school is doing. They're incredible. Laura's had several meetings and discussions, and yeah, we just keep going with it. But it's tough because the kid is so good at communicating their needs a lot of the time, in terms of their feelings as well, that I don't know, maybe there's been a bit of a mask built up there where we sometimes think that, "Oh, actually, you're really good communicating your needs." But when it comes to this deep stuff,
Hmm.
not really sure. And their creativity sometimes can come into them explaining how they feel, but it not and I don't mean it not being true, but it's a fictional version of what was happening. Like, they almost play it out like an anime or a cartoon, or they say, yeah, it's super challenging because there's not a quick fix, and you can't really meet the need. Slow burn. So we've got some stuff going in this week where they will have to come out of the house. Like when I take Mabel to her singing lesson, they will have to come out to.
Okay.
So we tune in next week to find out if that's my challenge or not. Because we're going to forcibly put in some transitions.
Right.
And yeah, there'll be some mornings as well. So yeah, just continues to be a little bit of a kind of sadness over the house a bit, because yeah, I think it was also hormonally what they're going through is like big, and
Yeah.
they're not necessarily understanding it. So, and they also, it's also teen stuff. There's a lot of like, just leave me alone. I mean, like, you have to respect that sometimes, as long as they're safe.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah, totally. Has school been attended more this week? Like, has
we,
that been an improvement in
I think,
terms of last week?
interestingly, had we not had our experiences with Mabel, I'd probably be able to give you that answer.
Right.
But I don't know that answer. I could go back and check. But whereas we kind of were tracking that really intensely at the start of Mabel's year 9, trying to find out, is this week better than last week? And then just kind of going through all that experience and realizing it's not actually linear. It's just all based on emotion. And where
Yeah.
it's all based on emotion, you just want the end point of their education to be a positive. So we haven't been sweating the numbers as much,
Yeah, that's cool.
because it's the quality of the transition and the quality of the experience they're having at school. So
No, totally.
um
Do you feel that it's been improvement or not? Or do you feel like you're going backwards as it?
I feel like they haven't unraveled after school this week as much. In fact, I don't think they have at all. In fact, they were giving me, we do low stakes feedback. So I'm like, school, thumb up, thumb middle, thumb down. And they've been wavering middle. I said, no, thumb up, thumb middle, thumb down. They've been like settling on middle when it had been down for a long time. So
Okay. That's good.
yeah, we're just in the middle of a rainstorm in the sea. So just have to ride this boat out for a bit. Try some things. I think it's a lot to consider. There's lots and lots of options of things that the school will put in place when they do attend. I don't think I think the meeting was towards the end of the week. I don't think they've attended since those things were said. So
Okay. And we're approaching a half term now as well, aren't we? So it's like only 1 or 2 weeks before. So then maybe that might help.
couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Couple of weeks for us. Yeah, fresh start, fresh slate. Hopefully, we'll see. There's a lot at play. Like they don't. If they struggle with their sleep, they won't get up for the bus. If they don't get up for the bus, then everything is gone, because that's the process. Day starts, bus, get off bus, see friends, go to form time. So Laura can't even get them to get in the car to go transition. They're just unraveling because the whole day's done. So yeah, just a little reminder that we were in a good spot, and these challenges will kind of pop up and be thrown around in ways that you don't expect. So hey ho. Yeah. Well, I think with that, we're probably going to take a little break and come back with some wins. Got a question or want to share a story? Drop us a message on Instagram or email us at NeuroDADverse@gmail.com. Look after yourselves. Welcome back to the NeuroDADverse, where we are discussing everything neuro-sparkly and neuro-spicy about our kids and what it's like to parent them. You've joined us in the podcast now, where we are going to talk about our biggest wins of the week. Now, if you've been listening to the whole podcast, you'll know that Dan went on a bit of a school trip with Frankie. Let's hear about the first part of that trip.
So that is the main big win of my week. I have got 3 written down, and I will
check
quickly.
you triple
I know.
wins. Listen,
wins.
then let's just skip through the win of the school trip, because I'm gonna point some things out. It was really difficult for me not to keep going, well, this all sounds like a win, Dan. That you went on a school trip with Frankie, and for the most part they regulated over all those transitions, and then the transition was great, and they communicated and eventually got back. Didn't quite go to full meltdown mode. That's brilliant. Tell me how you
absolutely.
Tell me how you felt
in the morning
at lunchtime before the transition challenge.
So yeah, the big win this week was the school trip, as in first big school trip where we visited a place. Normally, the last couple of school trips have involved us walking to a nearby library, like 20-minute walk in a straight line,
of course.
or jumping in a minibus, 2-minute drive to a post office to post the letter. This one was a full morning doing activities. I didn't really know what the itinerary was, but yeah, so I had to meet them there. I approached the minibus, and Frankie was sitting in the window seat. Kid loves window seats. They give him a window seat. He saw me approach the minibus, and straight away he smiled and acknowledged my existence, which was a good start. He came springing out of the minibus, ran straight over to me and grabbed me by the hand. That was a nice touch, Frank, I must admit. So when you're listening to this when you're older, thank you for that. That was a nice moment. He stood there sort of jumping up and down on the spot like, we're doing something, can't we? And he did hold my hand most of the time, actually, and
that's lovely.
that was really nice. Yes, I did take a photo of it. Yes, I did send it to him. I was like, "Look, our son is walking around this place with me." It was nice. And the purpose of the trip was to go to it's a heritage site, and it was a Victorian kids' toys. So there was a lady there. When it took us into this room, they'd got all these different toys out. So old school wooden skittles, some like hula hoops, and spinning top things, and loads of cool stuff. Frankie walked straight in. Obviously, I've already said that 30 or so of the kids were from the mainstream school, about 10 seconds. So they're like, line up in straight lines, like the lady who's saying, we can't go to a lined up straight. I'm like, oh, just like internally cringe, because I'm like, I don't think we're going to be able to do that, but let's see. But she was cool with it. She knew that a few of the kids were sent, and it was actually really nice.
She's going full Victorian school.
I was like, we're not going anywhere then, miss. If we have to line up, then this isn't happening. Because Frank will line up, but as soon as he's in line, he wants to then go, right? Because you told him to line up. So that's why we struggle.
Yeah, waiting is a problem,
Yeah, theme park rides and stuff like. He will potentially wait, but once he's in there, as soon as the buckle's done, he's like, let's go. And then when you got other people, and I'm like, anyway, so she was actually, they were really good with it. We naturally don't keep to a line. We're running around the outside. He's like really eager and excited to explore. But what was really lovely was the teacher of the mainstream school obviously knows their name, because obviously it's small schools, so they obviously most teachers know most pupils in schools, right? And they're just like, when we had to go through doorways, they'll be like, just wait here. I couldn't remember the names, not that I would sound on the pod anyway. Let Frankie go through, because he seemed happy. Like, I was like, oh, thank you. Like, they really treat you well here, Frank, don't they? Like, they're literally letting you jump in queues, go through doors. But yeah, so I had to go into this main room and sit down and listen to this lady talk for like half an hour. Not an activity that Frank's going to be able to do. Most of his class, in fairness, at least half, were wandering around, and Frank was a wanderer around. But Frank likes to run around. It's an old wooden floor, so every step he takes is quite loud. So I'm just sitting there like, oh. She didn't bat an eyelid. No one batted an eyelid. No one really
Good.
cared. He was following around a couple of his classmates, a few that I hadn't seen before,
See-
met, and he was making games with them. Like, he was like playing peekaboo in doorways, looking at some of them. He found a door in a corner that he kept walking me to, and he was like, "I can open this," and then he would open it. Then he'll look at me and he'd
Were
shut
they
it.
were the kids who were up and running around like vocal stimming or shouting or
No,
did it?
that was only Frank.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because Frank,
Okay, fine.
because
But so,
Frank is vocal
so
with
here's
his.
so here's the thing: if you're going to get now, if you run a museum or whatever where you're going to have school trips, you adapt. You make it adaptive. Whatever you do, make it adaptive. You can, of course, get some people in and do an assembly and sit them down. That's fine. There will be kids who won't be able to deal with that,
Mm.
and that will make noise in your setting. So mic yourself up.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah?
I mean,
Like,
he wasn't.
that's all you need to do.
Yeah.
But what I like is that it didn't seem like it bothered that person that much.
No, she
And
was.
that's
She
all
was
it
really
needs.
good. Yeah, she was really, really
Yeah.
good. But I was
Well,
like,
she was
obviously,
it sounds like she was just professional because she knows
so-
this is a primary school and there is a high level of need in kids.
yeah. So that there's a couple
In
of them.
fact,
Like,
that's a massive win. That's a massive win, actually.
yeah, the whole day was a win. It was just annoying that we had that blip, obviously, we discussed before the break. But because it was structured, like, although like it was in the main doorway, that was in the main hallway, sorry, but we would keep walking out into the hall because a couple of the kids, it was just too loud. The sensory, I went, it's like, kids in there, it's echoey because it's all wood, because it's like 100 years old.
Yeah, of course.
I was like, it's just not everyone's cup of tea. There was one of his classmates, just the sensory was too much. They walk around like that. They went for a walk outside with their parent. No one. There was no judgment. Obviously, they're in a school environment. They're with your parent. That's kind of why we're there. Because if you
Yeah.
need to go and do something, the staff can be attentive to the rest of the class. So yeah, then when it came to the actual, we're going to split into groups and then kind of do a circuit of they all take it in turns to play with the different toys. Frankie did engage in parts. He was walking around, he was watching how everyone else played, then he would run up and do a little bit, and that was kind of nice. But I just spent this time just walking around, following him, and he did try and make a runner upstairs because there was like a little balcony into the main hallway, and after a little bit of a discussion, he eventually agreed to come back down the stairs with me. Because also the other thing, I saw in the back of my mind always, I'm like, this is a school environment, right? And if all these other kids see Frankie's just able to walk around and just start doing this, then obviously everyone else could be like, well, why can't I do that? So I'm trying to be not as disruptive as possible as we can, whilst also giving them complete freedom to do
Yeah, of
his.
course. Yeah, it's a balance between
And to
meeting
be
the
fair,
need,
all the kids were great.
meeting the need and understanding the boundary. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so and he was interacting with some of the kids that I've never met before. I was chatting to their parents. I was like,
I was going to ask you,
they're
how
playing a
was the-
game, aren't they? Like, no, I don't think either of them know. I don't think this other kid knew that Frankie was playing hide and seek with him, but they were clearly playing hide and seek. But he was just really happy and really cheeky. He was walking up to things. He was looking at staff. He was smiling. He's like, "Can I go behind this curtain?" We're like, "You shouldn't go behind that curtain, Frankie." Then he'll disappear behind the curtain, giggle, and then run back out again. So yeah, he was just having a really, really, really joyous time. And then obviously it ends with going to lunch, and Frankie loves to eat. So we were
Mate,
having
there's
a
so
great,
much- there's
great
so much-
morning.
Yeah, there's so much to pick out of that. That's a win. Like, did you say you were speaking to some other parents?
Yeah, so the other about
Well-
half of his class had parents with them. So,
So
I spoke to
just
a
think
couple of
about, just zoom out and think about that for a second. You went to an old Victorian building, which was a school trip,
them.
and Frankie was engaged in play and some of the activities they had there enough for you to not only feel comfortable, but also have the time to realize, I can now talk to this other adult.
Yeah, well, because we were
That's
watching
like
the
that.
Rover sort of
It
thing.
sounds,
It was
if
good.
you're listening to this and thinking, why is that a big win? It's just a massive win. We've talked before. I think you went to a birthday party, and I certainly experienced it, where you go to somewhere, you know, loads of people, we haven't seen them for ages, and you just spend your time following the kid round in
hmm
the garden. That's not to say like, oh, you've ruined my nice time. It's just that's just the way it is. You just have to be on it so much time. So that is great.
Yeah, he wanted to be
Clearly,
involved, and he did it
clearly
the way
feels
he
very,
could.
very, very, very safe and connected to those other human beings at their school, like their peers and stuff.
Yeah, they have said, and I think I've said it on past pods where they are. He is now starting to form friendships, and I kind of did get to see that in action. Like there were kids that he gravitated towards. He would look at, he would smile at,
I
he would walk
imagine
up to. So that was just
I
really nice
imagine
to
that
see.
makes the morning transition to the bus challenges a little bit clearer. Like, what I mean is there's not an anxiety about going to school.
No, so yeah,
Like, well,
our
sorry,
going back to
I'd
school
say
in the
there's
morning is
yeah.
much better now. He's kind of it's taken him a few
But my
weeks,
point
but now
is,
he's more happy to go on the bus and do.
across the whole thing, thinking, oh, this term's been really challenging. They don't want to get on the bus every morning, and then the thought of, I wonder if they're upset or they don't like school. Actually, that kind of feedback that you got this week
Yeah,
is
yeah,
like, now they really love school and they love their people. So it's just a transitional thing.
yeah,
So, and not to say that it's it's not mutually exclusive. It's not like school is fantastic. Frankie loves it every day. They're there every second of every day.
mhm,
But it doesn't feel like you're putting it together where they're finding that they don't want to go to that place, which is really nice to know.
yeah. So, yeah. And I also got a bit of an update because obviously I've seen his stuff. He's not eating the cake as much this week because he switched it to flapjacks. I'm like, all right, that's a respectable decision, Frank. I do love the occasional flapjack. So,
We haven't got time on the pod to discuss whether a flapjack is a cake or not.
but he
But
goes and has cake every day.
it's okay.
He's now
It's
opting for
okay.
flapjack. But
I like it. I like it. I like
side
it.
quest task at another point.
Yeah.
And then my other sort of two
Oh yeah, go on,
wins,
run them through. I said we do that
just
quickly.
they're connected quickly. We started our week Monday morning at a medical appointment at the sleep clinic where we went along to meet, I can't remember the actual title now of the doctor, where they said we offer you some melatonin because this is what we do. 2-week course, I think we got of it. And the appointment went really well. He was happy to go to the hospital because, again, he kind of remembers. He was happily playing in the hall. He wanted to explore all of the corridors when we first got there. The staff there, obviously, because it's a children's
Yep.
building, they're like, if he wants to go and explore, he can go and explore. And I went, wicked,
good.
but he might not want to come back, and hopefully he picks the right corridor. So that was really good. Again, we struggle with they want to take height, weights, other vital stats towards things. I'm like, he's not going to do that. He doesn't like going in this room. But we did manage to gamify to find out how much he weighs. I
I
now
was
know
just
how
going to
much
say,
Frankie weighs.
we've just got to gamify it.
So
I did it with
she's
Oscar
like,
all the time.
would he stand on the scales? I'm like, Frankie, do you want to get on the scales? He just looked at us and walked towards the door and went, I was like, Amy, stand on it, count to 5 and get off. And then she did. I went, I'm going to do it. And then he looked at us like, wow. And I went, Frankie, do it. And he stood on there and we did it twice to make sure that we got the same reading. He weighs over 5 stone. That's probably why my back and my knees don't like carrying him as much now. So yeah, but that was a win. Like he was engaging.
Nice, yeah, of course.
We couldn't do heart rate, we couldn't do height, but we got we've never been able to weigh him before like that, so that was good. And then we went and got the prescription a few days later, and we've done 3 days of starting him on this melatonin treatment. And the first 2 days he fell asleep within like 15 minutes of us going to bed, and he slept for 10 to 11 hours. So that's really promising.
Wow.
Last night was the third night. Me and Amy went out to celebrate one of her friends' birthdays. He went to bed pretty much exactly the same as he'd done the last few nights, but he woke up at 2 a.m. and he didn't go back to bed. So we've got a very tired Frank downstairs right now because he's been awake for 14 hours. So hopefully we'll give him tonight's dose.
Yeah.
In theory, he should go to sleep quite quickly because he'll already be tired, and then see. So yeah, we got a 2-week trial on seeing how that goes. But I was a little bit hesitant, but so far, like we've literally I've nearly watched an entire season of something on Netflix this week because the time that I have gained, I'm like, wow, I can do a bit of work whilst watching some telly. So that was just a really weird feeling because normally we're used to like 2 to 3 hour put downs.
Yeah,
and now it's reduced to like 40 minutes.
So
So
love it.
yeah, they're my wins.
stuff.
What about you?
Well, we had it's an update really. It's not a win. I'll get to the win in a second, but it kind of comes on the back of yours. Some weird comparisons this week. So we had Mabel's update clinician appointment about the ADHD prescription that she's had.
Okay.
And yeah, that was really good. She started to kind of like share some experiences about how she's experiencing the medication. Went back and forth with some conversations. We're going to continue with it, potentially up the dose, but she isn't sleeping at all. So has been prescribed, you guessed it, certain melatonin. So we've got that to come. We've got to come up, and those that medication arrived, which is yeah, good. So the wins around Mabel this week really just showing some interest in their schooling, and out of nowhere just talking to me about what they're doing in class and saying I got to go sketch this in my sketchbook for art when we get home. And we've always had home is for home, school is for school, so it's kind of good. Like she's showing some
She did it
signs
then,
of that.
as in she came home and did the sketch.
Yeah, or what?
Wicked.
Yeah, she's motivated by the stuff that she is learning in her classroom, and it has been a long time since we've been able to see that consistently.
No, that's awesome.
But the biggest thing has been her ability to communicate, that we've seen a marked change in. When I say ability, she's quite a good communicator. She's quite emotionally mature, and I think if you have to act in a carer role to your sibling who is kind of, yeah, let's say crashing out or having a meltdown, and you're both in a front room and you're both in like pull up nappies, and your parents like rushing around trying to get somebody sorted in the kitchen comes in, you kind of, yeah, you grow up quite quickly, I guess.
Mm.
But what's changed is her in flare-ups, and I'm not asking at all for medication to change flare-ups. I want her to have them that show that she cares about something, that she's passionate about something, and
Mhm.
she's forthright in her views and everything. But when that's been a little bit out of kilter, I've received like a text message or later on half an hour, or at the end of it, like if she's been pissed off and really upset and like thrown some, like, just been rude to me, basically. She'll sit in a car, and at the end of the car journey or whenever, they'll come and look, I'm not mad at you now. It's just that, and she's explained her context.
Nice.
Like, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like she's been on these person and this happens every time, but there's just been enough times for it to look like she's kind of reflecting on behaviors. So look, I know I was really mad, but I just got in from football and I had too many layers of wet clothing on, and I just needed to get through that bit. And you were asking me about what food I wanted. She doesn't give a sorry either, which I really respect, because of like, you don't need to apologize.
Yeah.
But you are taking ownership and explaining what was going on for you emotionally, physically. And long may that continue, because I also thank you.
Mm.
You know?
And she
It's
says,
like
"Look."
acknowledge it.
She walks up to you and goes, "Look, this is the
Look,
situation." I
I
love
know
that.
yeah.
Love that. Because that's
Yeah,
so
she but she
assertive as well, isn't it? Like in a polite assertive,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
"Look, you annoyed me because of this,
yeah.
but
Or
we're moving on."
sometimes you asking me this when I wasn't ready to receive it. And that's just huge. Yeah, like I said, sometimes it comes in text message. And it's just never, we've always had the first bit, and I've always had to start the conversation. Like, can we talk about earlier? And she just dismiss it. But now I think, yeah, it's clear. She kind of says that being on these meds feels like she loses all her thoughts and gets them back when the medication wears off.
Oh,
And I was
okay.
like, what do you mean? We talked about the clinician appointment. She said, I all the thoughts that are all the busy thoughts. So the ones that kind of, she didn't say get in the way. I wanna try and-
Distract. Yeah.
Yeah, just like the one that kind of comes in and makes you go, I was doing this thing, but now I'm going to go away and do this thing. Or in the middle of a conversation, just blurt out something about,
Interesting.
I don't know, the American Civil War or whatever you've been learning.
So,
So,
like,
yeah,
less impulsive, like the impulsive sort of. That's not the right
Yeah.
word though, but yeah, kind of.
No, I like how she's explained it. She's just like, oh, at the evening just before going to bed, I
It's
think
just
I'm
quieter.
like, yeah, it's quieter throughout the day, but once it wears off, I get all my thoughts back in the evening. I'm like, okay, so that's she thinks that's why she might not
She
be
can't
sleeping.
sleep in. Yeah, no,
Yeah, because all of her thoughts. But hey, she's experiencing, and like, yeah, just she's a bit more regulated around the sensory stuff. She knows that, for example, being like caked in mud like she was after football today, like all over her hands and stuff. It was raining. She knows that she doesn't like that. She gets really overstimulated by it, but cleans up and doesn't completely unravel. So
just going a bit
yeah,
more mature, like not maturity again, but like it's experience. You've got more experience to be able to regulate
yeah,
yourself more. Yeah, that's awesome.
Anyway, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, it's been good. She's having a lot of anxiety challenges at school, but the right ones. The ones where she is anxious because they got a test coming up.
That's
Right? And
awesome.
I don't think that the school she goes to doesn't particularly seem like it's courting that, but I think that is a natural response to doing your GCSEs. Because it's a healthy dose of being worried about something. So yeah, her explanations have been quite good. Like it's just refreshing. Like I didn't need the explanations to know why it happened. Like I was asking you what food you want, and you were deregulated because of your sensory. But I realize it afterwards sometimes.
So, do you
But
think that will
her,
help you? Do you think that should I have
I
asked her
just
that question at that time? Like, did you know that
it's
she like,
really right. Okay, here it's really interesting. I don't want the pod to go on too long. I don't know what to do at the moment because 3 years time she's an 18-year-old, and do I think that continuing to give that structure to her and changing how I do things, is that helpful? Or is it better to just, not deliberately, my point is, in a workplace or in her adult life, is someone going to go, I can see you've just arrived at work in the rain. I'll give you a moment before speaking to you. Or
yeah,
is
I
it
know.
more likely that someone goes, oh, it's raining mad out there. We've got these 3 jobs to do. And she goes, eh. So, yeah, and it's like if you truly buy into learning by mistakes, do I need to keep giving the structure that I've given her for a long time now to support her with this, like packing her bag, getting her uniform all laid out for her in the morning, because it just wouldn't have happened elsewhere otherwise. So we're on a journey, but I just don't know what to do. Do you see what I mean? You got to learn about the world yourself a little bit, but then also
Yeah, because you
you've
weren't
been
being
doing some.
unreasonable. You were like, you need nutrition. You've been at football. Like, what a
Yeah,
terrible
yeah,
dad you were for trying to feed
yeah.
her. You know what I
So
mean?
yeah,
Like that. I suppose it's that sort of thankless. That is when you're being a parent and you get flack for it. That sucks,
yeah,
right? But yeah, it's not like you were wasting her time with a pointless question.
yeah, yeah. Also, I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't
And I know
mean
that
or
you're
rude
not the
about
sort
it.
of
So.
person that would be deliberately asking her a stupid question just to get a reaction, because you're not that sort of person. So it's
I
just that
don't need.
balance.
We don't need to ask stupid questions to get reactions. Sometimes it's just any questions.
Just
But yeah,
breathing
it's
too
good.
loudly.
So yes. Oh no, I happen to be under the same roof. Cool. All right. Well, it is the fun, ever evolving part of the podcast where we have a wonder what is happening. I'm not going to give any new scenarios, but we are going to do the good energy dance. If you know it, dance along. It's the look ahead to the week ahead. It's look ahead to the week ahead.
Amazing.
It's amazing.
You tell me about your week first, because I've gone first all show so far.
Oh, that's true. I am going to. I think it's unfair to say do an ICOT, but I'm just gonna look up. Amy's gonna be upset with me. She knows what's happening next week. It's fine. Right, blimey. Oh, sorry. Hilarious win as well as part of my things. I just looked at my notes. It was Laura's birthday yesterday, and we did some present opening. And just some of the things that happened there were hilarious. And Laura was cackling, and just the kids were both cackling. We had to wake up Oscar for it because they had a bit of a sleep in. Mabel's the only one really in the house that can fully wake Oscar up by banging on the door and opening up and went, "Get up, go downstairs." And I've said it before, like, "Oh no, this is going to go bad." Oscar came down. So yeah, the house was full of cackling and crazy laughter. So yeah,
That's nice.
big little win of the week. Well, it looks pretty empty, to be honest. So that's a bit of a letdown, isn't it? The week ahead does look a little bit sparse. There was a football game. She got some Mabel has some football training. Oscar has. They both have weeks of school. Nothing upcoming.
Okay.
But I don't want to say the word quiet because.
Well,
who
last time we
knows?
said that, we said that a few weeks ago, and then what happened this week? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. So my week ahead, hopefully full week of school. I am away over a school day night towards the end of the week, but I don't see that being a problem, as I've done it a few times now. We have a SALT meeting at Frankie's school, speech and language,
rad.
with the team that work with him in school, so that'd be really good. It is only 10 minutes, but we will extract as much info as we can. And Frankie also has a doctor's appointment Tuesday or Wednesday, I think, about his the skin condition, we'll say, on the top of his head.
Yeah.
And we definitely need to talk around. We have to take in the new melatonin information, because we don't know if we could keep using the shampoo we have been using, because it actually says on the melatonin thing that if you are taking medicines around skin conditions, you should check, because it could conflict. So
Nice.
that could be interesting. So that we might be winning
Cool.
on some sleep, but it might mean that the condition on his head has to hang around a little bit longer while we find some meds that he can use.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, a couple more appointments around Frankie's life, and yeah, tune in next week to see how they go. I'm looking at that. I don't know what I'm hoping. Well, the SALT will hopefully be a win. Speech and language.
Yeah, I mean,
but we'll see.
get strategies would be what I would say. We had loads of those, and the strategies I still use to this day in terms of helping with language.
Cool.
So yeah, superb. Sounds good. All right. Well, it just leaves us to say thank you very much for listening or watching. We are ever thankful that lots of you are coming checking us out kind of each week for what is effectively Dan and I's chat about making ourselves feel better about parents of neurodivergent children. If you have got your own little wins or challenges or your own little stories, please do get in touch. We have a Gmail account. It's the NeuroDADverse at gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok, or just get in touch on YouTube. Cool, Dan. This was lovely this week. Thank you. Really appreciate it. It just leaves us to say goodbye, and we do that in the customary way by Dan telling you 3 little things.
You are enough. You're doing great, and you're certainly not alone. The anxiety I get trying to say that now because of my blunder.
Have a good energy. I know, I smile every time because I look at your face and I'm like, he doesn't like doing this, but it's okay.
You staring at me while I'm doing it, I just know I'm going to make a mistake. But anyway,
step into your power, as you should all do this week. Have a good energy week and win the week. That's about it for the NeuroDADverse. We'll be back next week.
If you laughed, cried, or nodded in tired agreement, don't forget to follow us and leave a review. It helps more parents find us.
Just remember, you're doing great.
You are enough, and you are definitely not alone.
Got a question or want to share a story? Drop us a message on Instagram or email us at NeuroDADverse@gmail.com. Look after yourselves.